शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादम् शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्.
So we are continuing the discussion on the seventh Kariga. Vibhutim prasavantu anye manyante srishti chintakaha swapnamaya surupeti srishti anye vikalpida. So we should remember the background. From the sixth Kariga to ninth Kariga, including the ninth one, there is a discussion of different doctrines, different concepts of Srishti or creation. The sixth one, according to the school of philosophers called Pranavadinaka, who believe that prana gives life to everything. And then the seventh one, of course, the sixth Kariga itself, there is a reference to Purushavadinaka, those who believe that a personal anthropomorphic creator God gives birth to creation and he creates the entire world. Then there is another school of philosophy which believes that it's known as Upanishadikaha, means there were certain doctrines prevalent in those days who believed that God's will is the cause of creation, Satya Sankalpa, because whatever he wills cannot but become true. So when he does a Sankalpa, when he wills, creation comes into existence. And of course you find, as I mentioned earlier, some of the later Vaishnava Bhakti schools also endorsed some versions of this Satya Sankalpa view, like Ramanuja and others. And then there is another view, those who believe that everything happens in time. They used to believe that this Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, this entire cycles, the cyclic process of creation goes on, coming and going and again reappearing. These are different views, and eventually the Siddhanta Paksha, the Advaitins, will make a statement that all these are wrong. Okay, you find one important point mentioned here, the seventh Kariga. Suptamaya Surupa. It is Srishti Anye Vikalpida. Now this particular view has caused a lot of misunderstanding. Frequently people mix up this concept with Advaita. So here in the second part of the seventh Kariga, you find Suptamaya Surupa, means Maya Surupa. It is just like Maya, something that really doesn't exist in reality, and it's like dream. So you find all the criticism that sometimes the critics of Advaitins often raise, that Advaita says the world is dream, world is illusion, are all these views are totally and completely false and be refuted in this particular coming paragraph. And not only that, this view that the world is a dream, the world is illusion without any substance. That view is presented as a view to be refuted, to be rejected. So all these views are different versions of Purvapaksha, the opposite views, which Advaitin refutes and rejects with the statement that Devasya Esha Swabhavaha. So now you may ask the question, what's the difference between the Swapnamaya Swarupa? Because these philosophers also believe that creation is just a dream, just an illusion. That's because they believe Swapnamaya itself as a category. So that becomes Dvaita or it becomes dualistic philosophy. Maya itself is admitted to be a category, and therefore they are wrong. According to Advaita, Maya is not an eternal category. Brahman is only reality. Maya is something that we feel to be real till we realize Brahmajnanam. That should be Prag Brahmatma Vijnana Sarva Loka Vyavakaranam Satyitva Yada Swapna Drishtasaiva Prag Prabodha. In the Mandukya Bhasha itself, Bhashagara is going to say that the reality of the world and the fact of Maya become totally irrelevant. Automatically they cease to exist the moment you become spiritually enlightened, you realize Brahman. So these are the views now. Now we will come to the Bhashya proper. Vibhudihi vistara Ishwarasya srishtihi. Idi srishti chintakaha manyante. What it means is, Vibhuti vistara means this creation is an expansion of God's power, His attributes. This is one view. Now, what they imply is that Srishti and Srashta, creation and creator, are two different entities. That is the implication. This also is a view which is going to be rejected by Advaitis. Vibhuti Vistara. So God creates this world out of His own glory, His own powers, His own supernatural faculties. This is the view. It is also not acceptable to Siddhantis because it implies a clear distinction and difference between creator and creation. At the same time, in Advaita Vedanta, according to Siddhanta Paksha, creation and creator are not two different entities. They are the same. There is no creation independent of creator. That is the Vedantic view. But people who believe that creation is an expansion of Ishvara's Vibhuti, they imply that creation is one thing and creator is something else. So, as an introduction, you should remember that there are two distinct views with regard to philosophers who accept God, among the Svesharas, those who believe in the reality of a God. One is, that is for Advaitins, they give importance to Ishvara. So that's one view. Those philosophers who give importance to Creator, that's one view. And another school of philosophy, or maybe several schools of philosophers who believe that Srishti, creation is more important. According to Advaitins, Creator is more important and creation is only an indication, it's called a linga, to prove that there is a power behind creation. So why do we discuss creation? Not because creation is real, not because Srishti is real. So the creation is discussed why creation came, so you can, when Sokamayada Bahusyam Prajayedi Satapo Adapyada Satapastatva Idam Sarvam Asrujada. That is also a creation theory in the Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, you find. So creation is discussed in Advaita Vedanta only with the single purpose of eventually rejecting the theory of creation independent of creator. Natu Paramartha Chintaganam Srishto Adaraha Ityarthaha. Paramartha Chintakana means, but those who are really contemplating on the truth, that is Siddhanta Paksha, according to Advaitins, Srishto Na Adaraha. They don't give much importance to Srishti, because Srishti is discussed, thought only to prove that there is something behind the so-called creation. But as we go deeper and deeper into an analysis of creation, we come to realize that creation itself doesn't have a distinct entity independent of creator. And now the discussion continues. Indro Mayabhi Purarupa Iyate. So Indra here means Paramatma. That is the meaning here. Then in the Brihadaranyaka. So this Paramatman creates this external world, these diverse forms of the world, through its own Maya. This Maya is a very important and a very, very abstract principle. To understand Maya is very simple. Once you understand what Maya implies in Vedanta, then the whole of Advaita becomes a very, very, very simple, because truth is always much more simple than its opposite. So once you understand the real meaning of the word Maya in Vedanta, everything becomes very simple. So that is going to be discussed in these coming verses. Nahi Maya Vinam Sutram Akashe Nikshipya Tena Sayudham Aruhyam Chakshud Gocharadam Atitya Yudhena Khandasas Chinnam Padidam Punaruthidam Chapasyadam Tarkrita Maya the Sadatta Chindayam Adaro Bhavadi. So this, I think I just made some preliminary remarks about this. That is an example, an analogy is taken from ancient Indian rock magic. So to give how you relate it to Vedantin's creation theory. So that's what we are going to discuss now. And in this context, it is also important to understand the Drishti Srishti Vada propounded by Prakashananda. Remember, Prakashatman is different from Prakashananda. Prakashatman lived much earlier, and he is associated with the Vivarana Prasthana, Panchapadika Vivarana, Prakashatmayati. Prakashananda was another saint who is the author of Vedanta Siddhanta Muktavali, in which Prakashananda, who lived sometime in the 16th century, slightly before Appaya Dekshita. Prakashananda discusses this Drishti Srishti Vada, which we'll discuss now. So what is this Indian rock magic? So this analogy is drawn. The simple point that is implied here is, a magician comes to a king's court and he plays a magic, and actually he creates an illusion in the minds of the onlookers. And in that illusion, this magician throws up a thread or a rope into the sky upward, and then he climbs and he disappears. And before that, he will make some statements which are all absolutely ridiculous. He says that there is a war going on in heavens, and I have received a request to participate to help the angels against the demons. These are all, you need not bother. And then after some time, this magician, there's a huge war going on in the heavens. You can hear the sounds, weapons hitting each other, and this magician falls down, cut into pieces. Now, all this time, the real magician is sitting somewhere watching the whole thing. Now, what's the difference between the real magician sitting, maybe he's sitting in an easy chair perhaps, looking at the whole thing, and the magician whom the onlookers watch climbing up to the sky? The real magician is there. The real magician is Turiya, the Atman. Now, if you are aware of the real magician sitting somewhere, then you won't bother about the magic that is going on. But actually, magicians are able to pull woof, they are trying to take you for a ride because he becomes invisible. You can't see him there. That's what they say. Anyway, you can read descriptions of this in some of the travelogues as late as 19th century. So travelogues, you can read about this sort of things happening. So that's the discussion. That is the context. Nahi Mayavinam Sutram Akashe Nikshipya. So this magician, sutra here means, a thread or a rope. Akashe Nikshipya, he just throws upward to the sky. Tena Sayudham Aruhya, then he is fully armed to the teeth and he climbs along the rope. Chakshugojaradam Atitya, and then the magician, he climbs through the rope to the sky and then he disappears. Yuddhena Khandasas Chinnam Padidam, and you find after some war, some battles in the heavens, this magician falls down, cut into pieces, and again he gets up. Punaruthidam Chapasyada. Those who are watching the whole magic, Tattva Mayad Satattva Chindayam Adaro Bhavati. What happens, now, that's a na, there should be the Anvaya should be there. Those who are watching the whole thing, they may enjoy this magic, they won't seriously think about what happens in heaven, what this magician did in heaven. You don't think about it. Once the magic is over, when you are you are back to your home, you don't go on discussing the thread back, what happened in the magic, why he did that. You don't bother because it is magic. Similarly, that is the analogy. Similarly, Tathayvayam Mayavinaha. Now, similar is this mystery of creation. Mayavinaha Sutra Prasarana Samaha Susupta Supnati Vikasaha. So, just as a magician is throwing the rope to the sky, and then he slowly climbs on the rope. He throws the rope to the sky and slowly he climbs up. And he reaches different levels of the rope as he climbs. Similarly, you find different levels, Susupta, Swapni, Jagra, Swapna, Susupti. So Jagra, Swapna, Susupti is nothing but an expansion. It is only like the magician throwing the rope upward to the sky. Because the real magician, Turiya, is remaining distinct from all the Jagra, Swapna, Susupti states, Avasthatrayas. Who is the real magician? Turiya. Turiya is not involved. Actually, the magician is not climbing anywhere. It is only an illusion he creates in the minds of the onlookers. So because you are able to enjoy the magic, because you are deceived for some time, just because you are not aware of the reality of Turiya. Because we are not able to identify ourselves with this Turiya, that our transcendental spiritual identity, that we are Brahman, is a witness. It is equally present in Jagra, Supna Sushupti stage. It is present, but it is not limited. It transcends all the three stages, and it is distinct. So once you understand all this, just like the magician, the real magician who is sitting on an easy chair, creating this illusion in the minds of onlookers. Like that, when we realize the real Turiya nature of our true spiritual identity, then we won't be deceived. A jiva is like a person who is watching the real magician sitting in the easy chair. He may also see this fellow climbing to the sky, but even while watching it, he knows it's all wrong. Now, ordinary onlookers, at least when they are watching, because they are not able to see the real magician sitting, they are duped, they are deluded, and they start believing the real magician is climbing the sky. Because, like that, ordinary people who are not aware of their Turiya identity, their transcendental spiritual identity, they believe, well, I am now in Jagra state, in Supna state, in Sushupti state, I am enjoying, I am suffering, because we identify ourselves with everything that is not our true nature. We identify ourselves with our mind, our senses that we are seeing or we enjoy experiencing, our mind, intellect, and all other false identities. That's what we identify ourselves with. It's just like a person who is not able to see the real magician, but who is deluded by this false illusion created by the magician in our minds. Tadarudhamaya visamascha tatstha prajna taijasadihi. So, who is here that Mayavi, the magician climbing the thread? He is like, when you are in Jagra state, Swapna state, Sushupti state, we are enjoying gross things, subtle things, we are going through this deep sleep, Sushupti state, like your Vishwa, Taijasa Prajna, all these experiences are related to the false magician who is seen, not genuine, not real, but who is seen to be climbing the rope going to the sky. So, you can't see both. If you are seeing the rope, then you won't see the snake. If you are seeing the snake, that's because you are not seeing the rope. So, that's why Sutra Tatarudhabhyam Anyaha Paramarthamayavi. That's an important statement. Sutra Tatarudhabhyam Paramarthamayavi. Who is Paramarthamayavi? The real magician is Turiya. That Turiya is distinct and different from the thread that is thrown into the sky, and also distinct from the magician who is seen to be climbing the rope moving towards the sky. Because these are all illusions. The real magician is sitting or standing somewhere. Sa eva bhumishto mayachannaka adrishyamanaka eva sthitaka. And what about him? Saha eva bhumishtaka. He is buried right on the earth. He is not going to the sky. He may be having a cup of coffee perhaps when the whole magic is going on. The real magician creating this delusion in our minds. So that's why Saiva Bhumishtaka Maya Channaka. He is hidden, he is concealed by the wrong delusion, Maya. Why? Because the Maya is hiding the real magician from us. So he has covered himself, concealed himself by Maya so that we can't see him. Like that, Turiya, when Turiya went experiencing in Jagra state the external things, in Swapna state the subtle Sukshma things, and in Sushupti state where it's enjoying that that bliss, or when it is associated with all the three states of avasthatraya, means Jagra, Swapna, Sushupti states, then what happens? The Mayavi, the Turiya is adrishyamana. We don't see it. So you have to come out of these three avasthas. So the avasthatraya vichara in Vedanta is only to help you to come out of it. When we analyze and understand the dynamics of the three states of awareness, then what happens? We are able to realize our own true identity as distinct and different, but still present in all the three states. Adrishyamana eva sthitaha yatha tatha turiya kim paramartha tattvam. So that is what turiya is. Adas sadachintayameva adaro mumukshanam aryanam. So na nishprayojanayam sushto adarityataha sushticintaganam eva ite vikalpa ityaha. No, adas sadachintayameva adaraha mumukshunam aryanam. So those who are really looking for the realization of the truth, for them adara means they care for, they respect only Paramartha Chinta. They are concerned only about their own Turiya identity. So a Jivan Mukta, a liberated person, he may be living in this world, he may be going through all this, but he may also see the whole thing as Maya, not Mayavi. Here again you have to remember, this view is different from the view that is mentioned in the seventh Karika. That should be clearly understood. Because the majority of those who study Vedanta without going through the bhashyas of Shankaracharya get into this terrible misunderstanding. That is, where Maya itself becomes a category, where they accuse Advaitins that Maya itself is a category. In fact, Advaitins themselves are responsible. So I shall try to explain this a little further, so that otherwise it will not become clear. Why this problem arose? In fact, the Srishtivada itself was an attempt to answer a serious problem, to remedy a serious problem that existed in the 16th century after the long dialectics between Advaitins on the one hand and Naiyayikas and Dvaitins on the other. So in the works of Vyasatirtha, Vadiraja, Jayatirtha, all these Dvaita philosophers, and also some of the Naiyayikas created a lot of problems. So great dialecticians like Sriharsha, who is the author of Khandana Khandakadya, Chitsukacharya, Tattva Pratipikakara. So many of them answered this. So in this dialectical confrontation, there were Nayayika philosophers who began to allege that Advaita is not really Advaita, it becomes Dvaita, because Advaita cannot exist with Brahman alone. It needs another category, Maya, to explain the phenomenal world. Therefore, Maya, the concept of Maya assumes almost the same status as Brahman in Vedanta. Such a criticism, wrong interpretation of Advaita was projected by Nayayika philosophers and also even Nyayamrutakara, Vyasatirtha and others. Madhusudana Saraswati remedied this problem partly, but still the problem continued. So you should remember that context, why this is important, this particular paragraph in Bhashya. Because this Bhashya, this portion answers most of the problems in the direct language of Shankaracharya. So you can imagine how Prakashananda landed Advaita in a serious problem. He himself, his own interpretation of Advaita became a serious deviation from Shankaracharya's own original concept. So I shall explain this. So what Prakashananda did, you please remember Prakashananda is the author of the Vedanta Siddhanta Muktavali. Prakashananda. You should not be confused with Prakashatmayati, who is the most important figure in the Vivarana Prasthana, that is Panchapadika Vivarana. That is different. He lived much earlier than Prakashananda. Prakashananda lived around 15th and 16th century. And what he did, he expounded this Drishti Srishtivada, which means creation exists only so long as there is perception. And it exists only in our mind. Now remember, he was perilously taking Advaita to Yogacara philosophy. And the Yogacara philosophy was strongly refuted by Shankaracharya in the Brahma Sutra Bhasha itself. There is a Na Bhava Ubalabdhehe, there is a sutra in the Brahma Sutras where Shankaracharya points out the doctrine of Yogacara, which tells you that things, external objects do not have existence independent of our ideas. It's called Vijñapti Matra. Vijñapti means ideas, concepts or images in our mind. So an external object, a chair or table, they do not have any objective reality independent of our understanding of it. So what Prakashananda did was, he actually borrowed this idea from Yoga Vasishtha. It was not his own. In the Yoga Vasishtha you can find many similar ideas you find. For example, Ajnata Sattva Anabhyupagama Tum. That is actually an important statement in the Yoga Vasishtha. So what if it is Ajnata, if it is not known to you, then if you don't see something, it doesn't exist. So, and it exists only because you have that idea within you, that knowledge within you, that consciousness within you. If you have an awareness or consciousness of a table in your mind, then the table that you see in the external world as a reality. This actually, Yoga Vasishtha itself is not exact representation of Advaita Vedanta. There is a little deviation. So what Prakashananda did was, he tried to answer the critics of Advaita by saying that external objects do not have reality independent of our own understanding of it. Created things, external things exist only so long as we perceive them. Because there is drishti, so there is srishti. There is drishti srishtivada. Because we see them, so they exist. In fact, they exist only in our mind. So he was trying to defend Advaita. So here you should remember, there is a little philosophical complication here. According to Advaita, pratibhasika entities and vyavaharika entities are not exactly the same according to Shankaracharya's own Advaita. Pratibhasika entities is the snake idea in your mind, and vyavaharika entities is the rope that you see in front of you. The rope is there. According to Advaita, real Advaita of Adi Shankaracharya, the rope has a reality. And the ontological status of the rope is much higher and different from the status of the snake. Snake is only an idea in your mind that is coming from your memory of seeing snakes in the past. So according to the traditional Advaita of Adi Shankaracharya, pratibhasika entities, snake idea for example, is a modification of the perceivers on ignorance or ajnanam. Vyavaharika entities are modifications of Maya. So Vyavaharika entities like this, you see the road that you are traveling, in fact the table on which you are keeping the book, the entire phenomenal world, empirical world which constitutes this Vyavaharika world, they do have a reality, but they do not have absolute reality. They are only relative. So Vyavaharika entities, that is empirical entities, what you see and live with and live in this world as a whole, Jagat as a whole, they are all modifications of Maya. And what you see superimpose upon something which exists only in your mind, that is pratibhasya, like the snake idea. It is the modification of your ajnanam or ignorance. Now what Prakashananda did, he removed this distinction. And according to traditional Advaita, Maya is the common ground of both modifications. What Prakashananda did, there is no common ground. It's the external things outside that you see are not different from ideas in your mind, like the snake idea. So he actually removed the distinction between the paramar, between the Vyavaharika and Pratibhasika. As a result, what happens? Advaita itself came to be wrongly interpreted because of Prakashananda's Drishti Srishtivada. So he can see, in fact, Prakashananda has got a very wonderful, boastful statement in Vedanta Muktavali. Though he made such a terrible mistake and absolute mischief for Vedanta, he was not deficient in his own estimate of his own greatness. So he can find Vedanta Sara Sarvasum Ajneyam Adhunatanehi Asheshena Mayoktam Tat Purushottama Yatnataha. That is where he himself goes. Vedanta Sara Sarvasum Ajneyam Adhunatanehi. Till now, nobody understood Vedanta properly. So Asheshena Mayoktam Tat. Now I have explained everything properly, completely. That was his way. Now, why I am giving a lot of importance to this, this actually removes a lot of misunderstanding that we have about Advaita Vedanta. So, and just I made a statement, remember, very often when we read this passage, especially the, Vibhuti Vistara Eva, etc., that particular passage that I read just now and discussed, that statement should be understood in the context of Advaitins on refutation of Yogachara. I mentioned earlier, external things do have a reality. You should not get away with the impression that because Turiya is the only reality, what you see in this world do not have a reality. So the Yogachara philosophers like Vasubandhu and others, who believe that Vijñapti Matrame Vaidat Asat Arthavabhasana Yatha Taimirigasya Asat Keshad Darshanam. So according to the traditional Yogachara philosophers like Vasubandhu, Asanga and others, Vijñapti is the only reality. Vijñapti means our awareness, our concepts, our ideas in our mind. So only those things are real, not that they are real, and what we see outside have no reality. They are just like seeing hairs on moon. So Bhashyakara Shankaracharya in his Brahma Sutra Bhashya, he clearly refutes this view and makes a strong statement that external things are real but on the relative plane. Na bhava upalabdhehi. What it means, Na abhavaha. They do not have non-existence. That's the meaning here. The reason, because we come to know about them. A table or a chair or a flask or a book that we see in front of us, they do have a reality. They have a relative reality. For Yogacara philosopher will tell you, you have impressions, images, ideas, Vijnapti, I call Alaya Vijnana, a storehouse of Vijnapti in your mind, ideas in your mind, and you project them outside and you interpret external things. External things do not have independent existence. They exist only so long as we have awareness or ideas of those things in our mind. But Advaitins say no. Whether we are aware of external things or not, they do have a reality. We may not be aware of certain things, but other persons are aware of those things. So that's why, there's a... Anyway, Vijnana skandhamatram tad yujyade vana yujyade swapnadrishtanda buddhaiva vyavaharataka. You should remember all these things, because that clear out a lot of problems here. Bhashyakara himself says, Evam prapte brumaka na bhava vilabdhehe iti na kalu abhavo bhakyasya arthasya adhyavasadum shakyade kasma uvalabdhehe. What it means is, external things do not have non-existence. A literal translation means external things do have an existence. Why? Uvalabdhehe, because they are known by us. Therefore, we cannot decide that external things do not exist. Not only that, kudyam ghada pataiti na cha uvalabhyamanasya eva abhavo bhavidum arhati. See, we see different things when we think of, when we see a pot or cloth or a wall, any of these things, we see a corresponding objective reality in front of us. Therefore, those things do exist. So we should remember the discussion of Srishti in this paragraph doesn't indicate that external things are absolutely unreal, because that misunderstanding can come. It is very close, because magician is only reality, Turiya is only reality. All that we experience in Jagra Swapna states are unreal in the sense that they are not as real as Turiya. We are seeing this magician throwing up the rope, all this we are seeing it. So long as we are not aware of Turiya, a magician, we do believe these things to be real at that moment, not afterwards. But at that moment, we believe. Just like in dream, when we are seeing dreams, dream objects are as real as waking state objects are real in waking state. We become aware of the dream state of dream objects only when we come out of dream. So that should be understood clearly. You can see a blending of realism and idealism in Advaita, in Shankaracharya's own Advaita, which was somewhat disturbed by Prakashananda's Srishtivada in the 15th-16th century. Saeva bhumishto mayachannaka adrishyamanaka eva stitaha tatha turiyakyam paramartha tattvam adasata chintayam eva adaro mumukshanam aryanam. Therefore, mumukshunam, those who are looking for spiritual liberation, Arya, the word Arya should be understood. Mahakula Kulinarya Sabhya Sajjana Sadhavaha Arya. Means is Amaragosha's definition of who is an Arya. I mean those who are spiritually oriented, those who are spiritual seekers, those who are cultured, refined, sophisticated in their views and ideas and lifestyle, those who are refined and cultured mentally, that's the meaning here. There are areas. So, who are people who are spiritually interested in higher values, they have no respect, no consideration for the unreal things. That's the idea behind. Nisprayojanayam Srishto. Therefore, they don't worry about Srishti. This again should be remembered. It is not a rejection of Vyavaharika things completely. It is only a powerful statement which tells you that when you realize the Paramartha Tattvam, then you don't care for the different characteristics and properties of the created world, because you understand the reality is distinct and different and above the Srishti. Ityadaha Srishti Chindaganam Evaide Vikalpa Ityaha. So, therefore, all these are Srishti Chindaganam Vikalpa. What are they? These different ideas, but these Purushavadinaha, Pranavadinaha, or Suptamaya Surupa Vadinaha, all these are finding here. Different schools of creationists. These are Vikalpas, different versions of creation theories. Vedantins have no interest because these are all different Vikalpas. That's a bhashya on Suptamaya Sarupa iti. So, Swapna Sarupa, Maya Sarupa, etc. Just like Swapna Sarupa, I mean just like Swapna, just like Maya. That is a theory of a school of creationists who are opposed to Shankara. So frequently you often find people quote all this without realizing that it's only Purvapaksha. People quoting Vedanta scriptures from isolated passages without understanding that it is a contrary view presented by the Advaitin himself. That is not properly understood. Another view in the 8th Karika you find Ichha matram prabho srishtihi srishto idi srishto vinishchitaha kala prasudim bhudanam manninte kala chintakaha. Another view. So we will go fast through this. We don't need any elaborate discussion. One is Ichha matram prabho srishti, God's will. That is another view. Ida srishto vinishchita kala prasudim, things happen in time. That is another view. Ichha matram prabhoho satya sankalpatva srishtihi ghadatinam sankalpana matram na sankalpana adhiriktam kala deva srishti kechit. So, another false interpretation, Satya Sankalpa. You often find these ideas in Yoga Vasishtha again, because God just wills something and then something comes into existence, but that creation is different from Creator himself. So, the distinction between Creator and creation, that problem is always associated with all these doctrines of creation. Then Kala, again things, creation happens in Kala, time. Bhogartham, so this Bhogartham Srishti iti Anye Kridartham iti Chapare. Till now we are discussing what Srishti, what creation is. Now in this Karika we are discussing why and for what purpose creation. That's the discussion here. Bhogartham, just for God's enjoyment. That is another view. Kridartham, I mean, just for God's sport. God wants to play. You can find all this Ishvara Leela, all that in Bhagavata Purana, different Puranas. Puranic literature, in a way, presents a large number of different views with regard to creation. All of them are not agreeable to Vedantins, so that should be kept in mind. But if you just read the Chatusloki Bhagavata, that is at the beginning of Bhagavata Purana, you find it is very strongly Advaitic. I don't have time to go through that now. Another time we can discuss. Bhogartham, another school of philosophers, they say creation is for God's enjoyment. He wants to experience. He wants to enjoy. Kridartham, and for his play. Chanye Srishti Manyante. All of them see a distinction, difference between creation and creator. Anayoho pakshayoho dushanam devasesha svabhavo yamiti. So that statement should be remembered. 9th Karika, the second line, devasya esha svabhavaka. That is the only scientific and logical explanation for creation. Actually, you cannot explain. The very question itself is meaningless. Svabhava means certain properties or qualities which are inherent and inseparable. As I mentioned earlier, the heat and light of fire, or the coldness of water. You take heat and light from fire, it's no more fire. It's a property. So why fire should be hot? The question doesn't arise. So creation is actually a mystery. That takes you close to the concept that creation is itself to be explained in terms of Maya. Maya itself is anirvachaniya. So it is beyond definition. It cannot be explained. It cannot be defined. Certain things happen. There is no need and there is no scope for any kind of description. So anayoho pakshayoho dushanam devasya eva svabhavaha ayamiti. So ayam devasya svabhavaha. This is the inherent, inseparable characteristic of God. Devasya svabhava pakshamasritya sarvesham dvapakshanam aptakamasya kas prakayiti. Aptakama means somebody whose desires are all fulfilled. I mean those who do not have anything to achieve, any desire to be fulfilled, such a person may be called Aptakama. God has no desire, no need, and he has no desire. If you say that God has a desire, then you are limiting God as somebody who has a desire. Actually, this is a kind of anthropomorphism. You are putting your own problems to God. That's what is happening. Because we have desire, so we want to project a God with some desires to be fulfilled. So, the Siddhanta Pakshi says, Aptakamasya kas prakha. For God who has no desire yet to be fulfilled, what desire can he have? What need for him to create this world? No need for him. Nahi rajwadinam avidya svabhava vitirekena sarpadhyabhasatve karanam sakyam vaktum. So that's the last statement here. Now, why the piece of rope is misunderstood to be a snake or a crack on the floor or a thin stream of water or a stick, sarpa, bhuchidra, danda, jaladhara, etc. Why this rope is misunderstood to be all these things? How can you explain? There is no explanation. There is no other explanation. So one point is, at some point, Vedanta comes to the conclusion that the very question itself is ridiculous because you are asking questions within a realm or range where these questions do not have an answer. And when you come out of that realm, these questions become totally irrelevant. So remember in Vedanta, many of these questions about the creation or empirical phenomena cannot be answered, not because they do not have an answer, but because those questions have no relevance when you step out of that realm. So you can have an answer only when the questions themselves cease to be questions. And the questions cease to be questions only when you realize Brahman. When you realize it is rope, then, oh, what snake was it? Was it a viper or a cobra? Was it poisonous or only water snake? Those fights and discussions and debates have no relevance because you are seeing the rope in front of you. And before you see the rope, those questions have no remedy also, no answer also. So that is an important point. Remember, in Vedanta, your questions, ultimately, your questions can be answered only when we ascend your present level of understanding. And when that is not an intellectual process, it is a process of spiritual evolution. When you achieve that level, the questions actually become irrelevant. They don't get answered because those questions have no real answer. So now next one is, we'll conclude very soon. Chadutthapadha kramaprapte vaktavityaha nanta prakyamityadina sarva shabda pravrtimita shunyatva tasya shabda anabhideyatmidi vishesha pradeshedanaiva turiyam nirdidikshadi. Shunyameva tarhi tadna mithya vikalpasya nirnimittatva anuvottehi. Okay. So now we are coming to another section of the Bhashya. The Bhashyakara says, or Advaitin say, this absolute reality, Turiya, Nanda Prakyam, Bhish Prakyam, Ubheda Prakyam, Na Prakyam, Na Prakyam, all you find here in the 7th mantra perhaps, where Nishedha Vakya is introduced. The absolute reality cannot be explained by explaining what it is. It can be explained only by explaining what it is not. When you remove all your wrong notions about the rope, then what is left is rope only. When you get rid of all wrong notions about the rope, then the right notion alone remains. So it is called Pancha Sabda Pravritti Nishedha. I mean, the absolute reality cannot be explained in terms of jati, guna, dravya, karma, or sambandha. You cannot say what turiya, what genetic category belongs to, or what is his characteristic guna, whether it's in terms of color, its action. See, you can say gayakaha, pachakaha. This person is a musician, another person is a driver or cook or something like that, some kind of actions that he does. Or a relation, sambandha. He is uncle, father, mother and so on. Or you cannot explain anything without any of these, at least some of these things involved. But Brahman or Turiya is beyond jati, beyond karma, beyond sambandha, beyond guna, etc. So it cannot be explained, it cannot be defined, it can only be experienced. We will discuss this in detail when we take up that Bhashya next class. Before that, I just want to introduce the subject. So when you make a statement like in the 7th mantra of this Karika, the Upanishad, Nanda Prakyam, mantra of the Upanishad, the Mandukya Upanishad. We say this is not Anta Prakyam, Ubheda Prakyam, etc. When you make those statements, then you may say, oh, it's only Shunya only. It is Shunya. Such a Purva Paksha can be raised. It is, remember, Shunya according to Buddha is not nothingness. Shunya is nothing but it is dependent origination. So that is remember. I mean, when you say it is something shunya in Buddha philosophy, in the Yogacara, Madhyamika philosophy, Mahayana system, when you say it is something shunya according to Madhyamika Siddhanta, Nagarjuna, shunya doesn't mean nothingness. Shunya means it is not independent. It has no independent existence. It has no inherent existence. That's what it means. So that should be understood very clearly. Because it is dependent upon something. So it's called Praditya Samutpada, dependent origination. Everything in this world that you can see in this world is dependent upon something. It doesn't have an independent inherent existence. Everything is dependent. So that's the idea. There is no independent existence. That's the meaning of Shunya. Shunyameva tarhina mithya vikalpasya nirnimittatvad. But remember, when the Purvapaksha is raised here, Shankaracharya is taking this Purvapaksha from the contemporary Buddhist philosophy, which did not accept what we now understand to be the real meaning of Shunya. The real meaning of Shunya is, it is dependent. It doesn't have independent inherent existence. It is not nothingness. But Shunya had come to be interpreted as something close to nothingness in Shankaracharya's time. So when Shankaracharya gives a reply to this, you should remember, he is giving this reply in the context of the prevailing concept of Shunya that was popular among the later Shunyavadins, especially the followers of Asanga, one philosopher belonging to Yogacara school, whose theories created misunderstanding. So you should remember, all this happened almost 1,000 years after Buddha's passing away. So Shankaracharya replies, it cannot be nothingness, because these vikalpas, misunderstandings cannot happen without a substratum. You can have snake idea only because there is something lying on the floor. Rajju is there. You see the Rajju, but you are not able to understand it is Rajju because there is not enough light. So you mistake that Rajju, the rope, to be something else. Something should be there for you to mistake it for something else. So there is always an adhishthanam and a substratum. And that substratum is Atman. So that's how the dialectics progresses. We will have the discussion in the next session. Next session we have, maybe not next week, next after next week. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.